Hello, I'm Vimarsha Kodithuwakku, one of the Inspiring Women in STEM Fellow for 2023. I'm going to present you on my STEM story, and if I'm ever going to publish a book on this story, I will name it as The Adventure of an Ordinary Girl from a Small Island. My hometown is Colombo, which is known to be judicial and executive capital of Sri Lanka. I was born and bred there until I decided to move out. I never really thought about when I exactly developed an interest in science or medicine, but looking back, I know that I was not interested in medicine or science as a kid. Instead, I was interested in a number of other things, including bicycles. I had a lot of photos as a kid on my bicycle. As I grew older, I was keen on observing and reading, which might direct me to choose biology, chemistry, and physics for the university entrance examination. I managed to secure a spot at the University of Colombo to study Ayurvedic medicine and surgery, a traditional medical system in Sri Lanka. I was definitely keen on helping others. At this time, I volunteered in a number of non government organizations to improve the quality of life in differently abled children. While I was working as a medical practitioner, I observed the higher prevalence of non communicable diseases such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and mental disorders in my community. I knew that I needed to do something about it, but not so sure on what to do. Meanwhile, I completed a master's in applied psychology. Even after that, I didn't have a clear vision of my future directions. I came from a middle class family, and both my parents were government workers. They tried their best to provide everything for my brother and me, but they had difficulties funding both of our education in a foreign country. So I worked as a tutor to save money for my higher education. And as soon as I obtained my registration, I also started working as a residential medical officer in a wellness resort. After I got married, we both decided to move out for my higher education. At that time, I thought of studying health management, which would give me a chance to be directly involved in disease prevention. And it took us 2 years to settle the financial requirements for higher education in a foreign country. It was really hard to leave my family and close friends behind, but I had a massive support to my husband with me throughout this journey. So the big move happened. It was extra difficult for us with COVID outbreak. 2 weeks after we arrived, the borders were closed in Australia. There were travel limits. Everything went online. I had to complete my master's online. Finally, all the hard work paid off. As I had an interest in non-communicable disease prevention, I kept searching for PhD opportunities. Again, it was time to move, and this time the adventure continues into a tiny island again. I personally think that it is worth a move as I'm working on a very important research project at Menzies Institute. Let's have a look at the screen, and if I would ask you how old these beautiful, happy kids are, you will definitely have a nearly correct guess. But what if their blood vessels are older than their age? Well, that is going to be a big problem as they grow older. So let me tell you why blood vessels are so important. Well, they consider as the river network of our body. They provide nutrients to important organs in our body that are essential for their function and remove all the waste products from them. Our internal organs get older as we grow old, which is very normal. And this is the same with the blood vessels. But if they age faster, that causes much trouble later in life. Our blood pressure will increase, and this may damage the important organs such as brain, heart, and kidneys. Researchers have discovered that this process starts in childhood, so even children of the same age may have different vascular age due to a number of different factors. The food, exercise, socioeconomic, or even genetic factors could contribute to this aging process. So, I will use the data from Youth Vascular Consortium, a big international database with diverse vascular aging data from different countries, to observe the strongest factors that contribute to early vascular aging. This may provide a window into cardiovascular risk in adulthood and provide a chance to initiate early preventative and management interventions. Ultimately, this may help to reduce the incidence of heart diseases in adulthood, damage to vital organs such as brain, heart, and kidneys, and reduce premature deaths. I consider this a great opportunity to create a positive impact on society. Now, let me walk you through the project I did for the Inspiring Women in STEM grant. When I was living in Sri Lanka, I observed many reasons that may affect women's presence in STEM. Cultural expectations are one of the biggest challenge. Women are expected to get married and start a family after they finish their education. This may reduce the representation of women in the upper level of the hierarchy. With these expectations, it is really hard for a girl to come out and continue into their passion. Lack of resources and finance is also a major challenge to losing interest in STEM subjects. In schools, students are not getting a chance to engage in science related activities due to lack of resources. There are fewer opportunities and lack of awareness regarding the pathways that STEM education can lead them to. Even though I'm not in a position to address all these at once, I choose to address these important issues. So I selected a school on the border of the Western Province that has more than 65% of female students. All of them came from underprivileged families. They do not have basic facilities such as a laboratory or other resources to engage in science related activities. I provided them with hands on models that facilitate their science education and help them to engage in activities to understand the concepts in science. I did not get a chance to do this while I was in school, but I think hands on experience is really important in understanding science. I also conducted an awareness program on the opportunities in STEM education. I know that I am very fortunate to stand here today to tell you about my adventure. Clearly, it was not a very smooth one. I know as well that there are thousands of other girls out there in Sri Lanka looking for a way to achieve their dreams. Every girl deserves an opportunity to step outside their comfort zone, find their own adventure, and do the things that fulfill and inspire them. Now that I'm here, I'm going to continue doing everything I can to help those girls to do the same so that they too can tell their own adventure story to the world one day in the future. Finally, I would like to thank Science in the Pub Tasmania for this wonderful opportunity. Special thanks goes to Dr. Emily Flies for being a great inspiration. I would also like to thank my supervisors, Dr. Rachel Climey, Associate Professor Shona Gall, and Dr. Monique Breslin for believing in me and inspiring me to observe the world beyond research. Last but not least, I would love to thank all the inspiring women in my life, my mother, relations, teachers, friends, and many other I met throughout these years. They might not even realize it, but there was such an inspiration. Thank you very much for listening.